Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Your boy is back again with another stream. Of course, this one's a little different than a lot of my normal live streams that y'all used to see me do, just because I'm out and about. But I decided to go ahead and just, have a little stream, man, Um, I meant to do one this past weekend, but it got super busy being that it was Easter weekend, so I was out. I had a good weekend. I enjoyed myself. I just didn't have the time to, do a stream. Anyway, um, so we just going to talk to y'all, man. So I know we got some trailers that recently dropped. I did a reaction to the Him trailer that recently dropped. Um, that trailer was fucking nuts, fucking crazy. We got the trailer for what else dropped? I'm thinking something with Jurassic Park. It was kind of like a behind the scenes. I did a reaction for it. That one was actually pretty crazy. Um, yeah, and then of course we got the ending to Daredevil Born Again, which I wanted to talk to y'all about. So Daredevil Born Again, the finale was cool. I thought the finale was okay. It did get me curious enough that I want to see where this is going to lead to into the next season. You know, give me a second. But yeah, it did get me curious to see where the next season is going to lead because that finale was pretty nuts. I know as a whole, this whole entire season was basically like a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag. Were, um, a lot of people were not as high on this Daredevil season as they were in previous years, simply because when you look back at like I guess the first three seasons, which actually I started going back and watching, but I gotta continue. I guess this season just didn't hit as strong as those did. And then, of course, you had all the rewrites that was going on with Marvel. You had them going back and having to just redo a bunch of stuff story wise line because a lot of people just weren't rocking with what Marvel was going to do at first, which was basically, uh, restarting the Daredevil storyline, right? So they decided to continue on with what Netflix had, but just kind of put a Marvel spin on it. And I'm gonna actually give this whole season as a whole, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10 because I actually did, for the most part, pretty much and did enjoy this season. For the most part, I pretty much did enjoy this season. Anybody coming in, please hit the like button. So yeah, I pretty much enjoyed this season of Daredevil. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I can't wait to see what they do next. I've seen some photos from behind the scenes they posted where he's actually wearing a black and red suit now, and it actually has his Daredevil logo on his chest, which I think is pretty crazy. I think that's pretty crazy. Um, but it looks good. Like I said, I can't wait to see what they do as far as he going forward, especially with his love interest. I can't remember the therapist's name, but whatever the therapist's name, I I don't know what's gonna happen with that because now she's working for Fisk. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure it's gonna come at a point in time where she finds out that Matt is Daredevil, and that's why he's been so you know iffy when it comes to talking about the vigilantes. Whenever she brings them up, you know. Um, I did a video today. I did talk about the MCU. I talked about as far as the state of the MCU and basically just how they're not really doing too good right now because of the simple fact that you can't slap a Marvel logo on any more of these properties expected to bring in money, kind of connected to get to the next big Avengers film. And the problem is everything that they're doing, it was supposed to be connected to the last big bad, which was Kang the Conqueror. But since the Kang the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors got fired, they had to pivot and give us Doctor Doom, which is basically who everybody wanted in the first place. So it would have been really interesting to see how they would have went from Jonathan Majors to Victor Von Doom if they would have followed that storyline, right? And for all we know, Victor Von Doom is not going to be in the Fantastic Four. Like he could probably show up in the end credit scene or something like that, but for the most part, I don't see him showing up in that. Uh, we didn't get any indication he's going to be in the movie at all. All the focus is going to be on the Fantastic Four trying to stop um, Galactus, and how are they going to take care of the female Silver Surfer? And I don't know. I mean, to me, the more I sit back and think about it, I feel like even though this Galactus is actual physical Galactus, it's not the big storm cloud like we got back on like what 07, 08. It does kind of make me feel like, oh, we're getting this movie again, just because of the simple fact that they're going at Galactus again. Now I know this is gonna have a way different storyline because it's like the origin story for the MCU, and then you're gonna have um it's the origin story for the MCU's Fantastic Four, and then of course you're going to have Galactus actually show up on Earth. You're gonna have the female Silver Surfer. This is taking place in alternate reality, so there's very little similarities to what happened in early 2000s, the early 2000s movie, the 2007 film. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how this works out. But it seems like the I can't think of the word. It seems like the fans' reaction. It is the best way I can say it. It hasn't been great. It's been okay, but it hasn't been great. It hasn't really gotten a lot of fans excited. It hasn't really got a lot of fans, jumping to want to see this movie. And maybe it's because we've seen so many different iterations of the Fantastic Four already, at least twice, and neither one of them really set the world ablaze. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Marvel does it with this current Fantastic Four. And then of course you have Pedro. I can't say his name. Pascal. He's been in every single thing. I mean, the dude is in everything you could possibly think of. It makes you wonder what he got on somebody working for Marvel with all the stuff he's been starring in, or the studios, right? So with that being said, I hope that this movie is going to be good. I don't know if it's going to save the MCU. I think it's one of the big major things a lot of people have gotten have got to stop saying is they people got to stop expecting these one movies to save the MCU because it's going to take pretty much 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies to really save the MCU. One movie alone is not going to be able to get it done. One movie alone is not going to be able to get it done. And that's the issue, man. People keep thinking, well, can the Fantastic Four save the MCU? No, they're not going to save the MCU. It's just going to be another movie. The MCU has to save the MCU. It's going to take multiple movies. And no, not every last one is going to be a blockbuster billion-dollar hit. But the MCU has got to save the MCU. It's not just going to be one movie by itself that saves everything. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be a full-on, um, a full-on support from Kevin Feige and his team, all the way up to the highest Disney Bob Iger on down. You know what I'm saying? Like they gotta fix how they make these movies. They gotta fix the story. But like I said, with the matter of them having to pivot from King the Conqueror to Doctor Doom, a lot of the stories that are being told right now, at least in my opinion, were gearing towards um, Jonathan Majors' character. But since he's no longer there, they've had to pivot and readjust the schedule. Do I think that this new Avengers film is coming a little too soon? Not really, since it's going to be about what 5, 6 years
since we got the last one. So it's gonna be a while. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people will feel like it's being rushed. They're like, hey, we're bringing back Robert Downey Jr., we're bringing back Chris Evans, we're bringing back the Russo brothers, you know what I'm saying? We're bringing back y'all favorites, everybody y'all knew and loved over the last 10, 12, 13 years to, try and get us back on the ship, to right the ship. And it's going to take more than just these guys to right the ship. Marvel has, for whatever reason, has had a hard time adjusting to finding new stars to pick up the torch to lead the MCU. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at just currently what's going on. Go through the history of all the directors that they've had to try to, you know, direct any one of these Avengers big films. You know what I'm saying? They have had no one that has been able to pick up the torch. The actors, as far as like Anthony Mackie and Tom Holland, and the chick who plays Carl Danvers, it's been hard for them to pass the baton on from the old guard of the big three, which was Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America, to the new big three because nobody is picking up the baton. Marvel is having serious trouble trying to figure out who they want to pick up the baton to take over as the new face of the MCU. Nobody's picking up the baton. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know what Marvel is going to do. I don't know what Marvel is going to do. They got to seriously get it together. Um, I hope they're able to pull. I hope they're able to pull this together, but who knows? Who knows? Um, we just gonna have to wait and see. For real, for real. We just gonna have to wait and see. Um, kind of switching gears here, we're gonna talk about DC. So I did do the reaction to the behind the scenes of the Superman clip that we got for Superman Day, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was interesting to see behind the scenes how Superman looked. It was cool to see just what James Gunn's process was. My biggest issue is still that damn suit. It looks like hot trash garbage simply because of all the wrinkles and the material is so padded and the lines. I hate the lines in that Superman suit. It looks terrible. It looks terrible. But I think everything else for the most part pretty much looked cool. I liked how Lex Luthor looked. I like the Fortress of Solitude from what we saw. The robot was pretty crazy. I think that's like an actual robot. I thought it was like a not like a CGI robot, but like just a practical effect. I didn't expect that. That's what that was crazy for me to see. But I was hoping this movie is gonna knock it out the park, man. I really do. From what I've read, it just sounds like it's gonna be Luthor trying to throw things at Superman in order to defeat him. You understand what I'm saying? So it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting to see how this movie turns out. All right, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. So yeah, with DC, like I said, I did a reaction to the behind the scenes clip. It looked cool. I am hoping that this movie is going to be successful because it's been a lot of negative talk with James Gunn and just how he's handled things with this new DC universe. I mean, everybody still is waiting for the Batman Part 2, which quite honestly I've given up on. I don't think we're gonna get. I just think it's a lost cause at this point to even um, get excited about it or have hope anymore because it's been how many years and we ain't got a script. We ain't got a script. So why should I hold on to any more hope? And, I think everybody else should let it go too. We ain't getting the Batman Part 2. I think it's over and done with. As much as I would like for it to come to fruition, I just don't think that it is. Um, so I think that James Gunn is just going to just ride this out and eventually announce that it's not going to happen. Him and Matt Reeves maybe couldn't come to some type of agreement on a new script and a new story, and then eventually it's just going to lead to him having his own Batman in the new DCU. It's as simple as that. Um, but like I said, Superman. Like I said, the only thing I like about that suit is the S on the back of the cape, and that's it. Everything else, when it comes to the suit, just doesn't do it for me. Just doesn't do it for me. I don't like the lines. The S, I mean, it's all right. But everything else, as far as the lines, the padding, it just doesn't do it for me. And even looking at Curran Sweat from behind the scenes, it looked like he has the muscle to fill out the suit. But it's all this padding doesn't look good. The big baggy underwear with the belt buckle look terrible. It's like I don't know if James Gunn is trying to go back and pull from like Christopher Reeve Superman or one of the older versions of Superman from the 70s, 80s, 90s, who knows. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's 2025, man. You gotta, take a Superman story and make it fit the time of now, the modern times, instead of trying to, continue to you know, go back into the 70s, 80s, and 90s and just try and redo what's already been done. You know, make the movie fit the modern times now. You understand what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I just want this movie to be successful because it is starting this DC universe, and of course, I know we got Lanterns coming up. Not a whole lot has been talked about when it comes to the Lanterns. I know there's been a picture where uh, who is it? Jean? Not Jean. I'm sorry, but you got one of the Green Lanterns. Hal Jordan has a ring, and the other one doesn't. And people were saying how his ring looks similar to um, the Hal Jordan we got that Ryan Reynolds started years ago, and his ring does look very similar, very very similar. There's probably like one or two minor details, but his ring looks exactly like the ring that Ryan Reynolds wore back in like 2008, 9, 2010 movie. I don't even remember what year the movie came out. I didn't even go to the theater and see that movie. I actually went to the library and rented it on VHS, and it kept skipping and kept freezing. So yeah. But as far as what we're getting right now, I mean, we just gotta hope it's gonna be a good, successful story. You know what I'm saying? Superman is starting this new DCU. Uh, you got over on the Marvel side, Fantastic Four is trying to be successful after the flops that we had over the years with the '07, '08, or 2005, whatever years the movies came out back in the early 2000s. Those Fantastic Four films, and I believe the one we got in 2015 with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. The Fantastic Four just haven't had a good live action iteration, and a lot of people always question uh, the actors and actresses that get picked to play the Fantastic Four. Everybody looking at Pedro Pascal like, nah, that's not Reed Richards. Sue Storm, nah, that's not Sue Storm. Johnny, I guess he's okay, and of course Ben Grimm. And the one thing about Ben Grimm is the voice. You know what I'm saying? He sounds just like his regular self. He, for whatever reason, they didn't give him the gruffy voice as Ben Grimm. It doesn't make sense. Like he can still understand what he's saying, just like you did back in the early 2000s. But he doesn't have that gruffy voice. He sounds as if it's just him, but he's just looking like the thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty weird. Anyway, I'm going to end this stream. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I think anybody who could watch later on. I do plan on doing a stream. Want to say Wednesday, but it's gonna be a late one, probably like around like 9:30 ish. So definitely stop by and come hang out. I'll see if what topics I can have to talk about, but just trying to expand and do more live streams. Of course, this one was really an unplanned one, but I definitely plan on doing more. Mostly on Saturdays, usually around like 12:30. So definitely come hang out. Uh, we try and have a little bit of a discussion about everything when it comes to the movies. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thank you all for stopping by. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. I'm out.